Starts right now.
3 people are dead tonight and 2 more are in critical condition after a shooting at an East Side bar overnight. It all happened just before 3:30 at the Boom Boom Sports Bar. That's on South New Braunfels near Interstate 10. Dylan Collier now with more on the city's latest incident of gun violence.
Shots being fired early this morning gave way to the sounds of sobbing as a large crowd gathered down the street from the Boom Boom Sports Bar. Shell casings littered the parking lot as evidence bags were filled over several hours, while a significant investigation took place both inside and outside the bar.
Still a little early on in the investigation. I don't know if they were already outside or he was, the gunman started shooting them as they came out. It's still early on.
2 victims died at the scene, a third after being rushed to a hospital. 2 others remained in critical condition at last check. The Bexar County Medical Examiner's Office has tentatively identified 2 of the victims who died. Autopsies in this case are not expected to take place until tomorrow. On the city's east side, Dylan Collier, KSAT 12 News.
A man is in police custody in connection with a murder where another person was carjacked and then run over by the suspect. But the crime spree didn't stop there. Jaffney Gray is at the Texaco gas station on Palo Alto Road where this all happened. Jaff?
San Antonio police say a 65-year-old man was actually changing his tire here at this gas station before 11 last night when the suspect in this case, who was 36-year-old Jose Gonzalez, approached him. Police say Gonzalez eventually left the scene but came back shortly later and got into the passenger side of the victim's car. They say he put his car in reverse and the man walked from the driver's side to the passenger side in the front of the car, and that is when Gonzalez allegedly hit the gas, fatally striking the victim. But as you mentioned, that didn't stop there. Gonzalez then crashed the car into the side of the gas station before going inside, stripping down to his underwear, damaging several items and grabbing money from the cash register. Police did arrive and tried arresting him, but he was, quote, non-compliant and aggressive. They even tased him twice to no effect. Gonzalez is also accused of kicking 2 officers in the process, injuring them. He was handcuffed before being taken to University Hospital for treatment for his injuries, but after he was released, he was booked for murder and 2 counts of assault on a public servant. On the south side, Jaffney Gray, KSAT 12 News.
Turning now to the weather on this Sunday evening. Summertime storms have cooled down a lot of us today. Katie's been keeping an eye on the radar. We had some good downpours here downtown. A lot of thunder out there. Nothing like what we saw up in Austin, though, today.
Oh, yeah, big time issues up in Austin at the Capitol, and we're going to have that video coming up later on in the newscast. Yeah, summertime thunderstorms bubbled up in the hill country late this morning, right around lunchtime, and they've been gradually moving south ever since. These storms are very slow movers, hence the flooding issues that they saw in Austin at the Capitol building. Here at the bottom of the hour, activity is starting to decrease in coverage already, and locally in and around San Antonio in Bexar County, things are pretty quiet. Some lingering lighter rain up 10 along Leon Springs there. Poteet, you've got a shower near you now at this hour. In Falls City, a little shower off to the west there. The heftiest of the remaining thunderstorm activity is up across a portion of western Bandera County into Real County near Lakey. Utopia, strong thunderstorm cell to your west there. This has, again, more heavy rain possible, frequent lightning, and also possibly some small hail. We'll take another look at this cluster of storms, get you your forecast for the rest of your Sunday and also for the week ahead coming up in just a bit. Tim.
Katie, new at 5:30, the Bexar County Medical Examiner's Office has now identified the man who was shot and killed by SAPD officers after he allegedly shot an officer during a chase earlier this week. That man has been identified as Stephen Prim. That shooting happening Friday afternoon off Lakewood Drive, just west of Loop 410 and Highway 87. Police were responding to a disturbance with a gun call when all this happened. Police say when officers arrived, Prim, who had a gun, took off. He eventually caught up with another officer who he allegedly shot twice. That officer was taken to BAMC and is expected to recover. The Bexar County Medical Examiner's Office has not released Prim's cause of death yet. A family is in mourning after the loss of a pet during a house fire this afternoon over on the south side. That incident happening just after 1 o'clock at the home off Archimedes Drive, not far from East South Cross and I-37. Fire officials say that fire started in the kitchen. Crews had to attack the fire from the attic. The homeowner telling firefighters he had 2 dogs inside. A large dog was found under some blankets in a closet, while a smaller dog was out in the open. We're told the firefighters were unable to save that dog. The Taliban is now in control of Afghanistan after entering Kabul today and meeting at the presidential palace to arrange a transfer of power. The Afghanistan president has fled the country, and the U.S. is evacuating American personnel as well as Afghan citizens who helped Western coalition forces during that 20-year war. Here's ABC's Faith Abube with the details.
Afghanistan President Ashraf Ghani has left his country after a delegation of Taliban leaders arrived at the presidential palace to negotiate a transfer of power. A new reconciliation council will be formed by former Mujahideen leader Gulbuddin Hekmatyar and former Afghan President Hamid Karzai. In a statement, they said the council's goal is to prevent chaos, reduce the suffering of the Afghan people, and better manage a peaceful transfer of power. Kabul was the final destination in the Taliban's lightning-fast offensive. In just over a week, taking all major cities, the Taliban told residents in a statement that they should not fear the troops and that none of the fighters would enter anyone's homes or harass them. On Sunday, all routes out of Kabul were sealed off. Chinook helicopters could be seen at the U.S. Embassy as the emergency evacuation gets underway.
Right now, the focus has to be totally on getting these brave, first all-American personnel out and our the brave Afghans who helped us through the years out.
This airport processing center filled with visa applicants, Afghans who helped the West during the 20-year war, now fearing for their lives.
We serve for the American forces, we serve for the U.S. and ISAF forces, for the coalition forces. They have to take care about us.
Other Afghans are now bracing for what's to come.
Recently, life has become difficult for people. People worried about the way Taliban treat us before and now. We just want peace.
The Biden administration is defending the decision to withdraw U.S. troops.
The president made the determination that it was time to end this war for the United States, to get out of the middle of a civil war in Afghanistan.
But some in Congress are taking aim at both the Biden and Trump administrations.
President Biden bears responsibility for making this decision, but there is no question that President Trump, his administration, Secretary Pompeo, they also bear very significant responsibility for this. President Trump told us that the Taliban was going to fight terror. Secretary Pompeo told us that the Taliban was going to renounce al-Qaeda. None of that has happened.
Faith Abube, ABC News, Washington.
People of color make up 60% of the organ donor wait list, but only 32% of people of color are organ donors. One of those donors, Gracia Kaiser, in Tonight on the Night Beat, will share her story and explain why there is a need for minority organ donors. Still ahead on the news at 5:30, celebrating the Silver Rose, a look back at its pilgrimage from Canada all the way to San Antonio and the meaning behind the religious symbol. A silver rose honoring Our Lady of Guadalupe has made the pilgrimage through Canada, the U.S., and Mexico, and is now right here in San Antonio. The Silver Rose, which is stewarded by the Knights of Columbus, arrived yesterday at San Juan de los Lagos Catholic Church. This morning, parishioners from Catholic churches across the city lined up to view the Silver Rose. The complete bouquet of silver roses is housed at the Basilica of Our Lady of Guadalupe in Mexico City. The Trip of the Rose is made to remind people of the legend or miracle of Our Lady of Guadalupe appearing to a peasant, Juan Diego, in the 1500s. You can read more about this story right now on KSAT.com.
Outside with Live Cam, this is a treat for August, at least here in San Antonio and Bexar County. Temperatures are in the 70s at this hour because of those summertime thunder showers that have been rumbling through this afternoon. We'll take another look at radar, get you your forecast for the week ahead shortly. But first, the aquifer today is up just 1/10 of a foot. And as of this morning, our molds count was finally low. But because of today's rain, I do expect this molds number to jump as we start the new work and school week on Monday. The forecast coming up next.
All right, check this out. Katie mentioned this a little earlier in the show. Flooding at the Texas State Capitol earlier today. Water can be seen all up and down the hallways there and then leaking from the rooftop windows as they go around the corner here and they pan that camera up. It is just literally raining indoors. The National Weather Service reported 2 to 3 inches of rain in a 1-hour time. Lots of problems up there in Austin. I saw another video, Katie, from a building at the University of Texas where water was just shooting up like a geyser from the floor. there. So lots of problems there. We had some good downpours downtown San Antonio, but nothing like that.
Thankfully, yes. Those storms up in Austin, the reason for the flooding, first of all the storms out there today capable of producing very heavy rain. They had a couple of outflow boundaries run into each other kind of right over Austin. So that's why that very heavy rain persisted for about an hour, a little bit longer. And that's what led to the flooding issues. Thankfully, things here locally, they've been moving slow, but they've been moving, so we've avoided flooding issues like that, and that's good news. Look at the rest of your Sunday. Rain chances gradually fall off after sunset. We're already starting to see activity wind down, so I think a lot of the juiciness in our atmosphere has already been squeezed out by the storms this afternoon and early this evening, and we'll continue to see coverage of rain decrease, especially after sunset. I do expect a pretty sharp drop-off with rainfall activity after the sun goes down. A quick note here, temperatures are going to vary a lot depending on where you live and if you've seen rain today. Places like New Braunfels down to San Antonio, cloudy with a rain-cooled temperature in the 70s. Same story in Kerrville. Meanwhile, Uvalde 90 degrees, 99 in Del Rio with a lot of sunshine and not so much rain today. I want to jump through radar a couple more times. Again, things are starting to wind down. We did have that cell across the central and northern portion of Bexar County that really just sat there for a while, dropped some heavy rain, but it has fizzled out completely. And aside from some light rain along I-10 in northwest Bexar County, things are quiet in and around San Antonio. We do have some lingering downpours down a little bit closer to the coast. There were some hefty showers around Shiner up to near Hallettsville there. That activity is starting to fizzle out as well. Spotty showers down through Atascosa County. And really the heftiest storms we've got out there currently are west of 35. And just to reiterate, these are not severe thunderstorms. They're packing a bit of a punch with some heavy rain and also some loud claps of thunder and bright strikes of lightning. But other than that, we're not concerned about a lot of hail here. We're not concerned about damaging wind gusts. So that is some good news. Here's our focus for our activity. Currently, Uvalde, you're at 90, but you've got rain just off to your east. Hopefully you'll get to cool down a little bit here. And keep in mind the motion with these thunder showers. It's not very fast. You can see they're kind of popping up, dropping the heavy rain, and then they fizzle out. And that will continue to be the trend over the next couple of hours. But from Medina up into western Kerr County, Lost Maples, all the way over to near Lakey north of Concan, there are some lingering thunder showers at this hour. So make sure you bring things inside until that rain and those storms come to a close. Futurecast has a pretty good grip on how things will look for the rest of the evening. Again, through sunset, these thunder showers will try to hang on. But once we lose the heat of the day, they will fizzle out. And we're looking at very quiet weather heading into early tomorrow morning. Warm and muggy, maybe a little bit of patchy fog possible. As we get into tomorrow afternoon, I do expect a little more redevelopment of some showers and storms. Coverage is going to be a little bit less than today. But nonetheless, Monday afternoon into the early evening, I can't rule out a scattered thunder shower here or there, just like today. Not concerned about severe weather tomorrow, but you may get some heavy rain briefly and also a few more flashes of lightning for your Monday. After that, rain chances get trimmed back even more. I want to touch on the tropics. We've got now Tropical Storm Fred in the eastern Gulf. It will make landfall sometime tomorrow, likely somewhere along the Florida Gulf Coast, the Florida Peninsula there. Something that's going to be a little bit more of something that we're going to watch closely is Grace. Grace is currently moving into the Caribbean now. It's going to have to roll over some pretty rough terrain, places like Haiti, the Dominican Republic, and Cuba through the middle part of the week. But as we get into Thursday and Friday, the system is expected to move into the Gulf of Mexico. And before you get too freaked out by this image, several days still to watch this potential tropical system. And remember, with the forecast cone this far out, this means that the center of circulation with this system could be anywhere from here, this edge of the cone, to over here. So when we're talking 5 days out with the tropical system, there's still a lot of uncertainty. Just know this is something we're watching, and we'll continue to keep you updated as the week goes on. You can always find the latest on our KSAT Hurricane Tracker app. A quick look at the week ahead. A couple more days of rain chances, and then hot to finish up this work and school week. We'll be right back.
What do you see in your future?
I see bigger fights. I see Chocolatito, Gallo Estrada, Ioka, and Cajas. Any of the fighters, I want to unify.
After a decisive victory, San Antonio's Joshua Franco is aiming to fight the very best in big board sports. There was no drama last night in the trilogy bout between Joshua Franco and Andrew Maloney. El Profesor dominated Maloney to win by unanimous decision to retain his 115-pound WBA Super Flyweight Championship. All three judges scored the fight 116-112 in favor of Franco. The fight took place 9 months to the day that the second fight between these two ended in a controversial contest after the ref called an accidental headbutt. Last night, Joshua consistently beat Maloney to the punch and landed the cleaner, harder shots. Joshua landed more total punches, 168-107, and more power punches than Maloney, 127-73. After the fight, Maloney was nearly driven to tears, while Franco said he's one of the best in his weight division.
For sure, puts me top 5, on the same list as all the other champions. I needed this fight to prove myself, and that's what I did. So I believe I'm top 5.
I know a lot was said after that second fight, after the controversy, how it ended. But then I saw the sportsmanship, not only from your corner, but from you and Andrew Maloney. What was said?
We just told each other, all that's talking, it's part of the game, it's part of building the fight up. I told him that he'll be world champion again. He's a great, strong fighter, and, nothing but respect to him. I wish the best for him in his career.
I feel like I let a lot of people down tonight. I let my team down and I let my family down. We've all been away for 8 months, and now it's for nothing.
Franco improves to 18-1-2. He's ESPN's number 6 boxer at 115 pounds.
Pro football coverage powered by Davis Law Firm.
The Houston Texans opened their 3-game preseason schedule with a 26-7 win at Green Bay last night. Houston scored 2 touchdowns, a 5-yard run by running back Scotty Phillips in the second quarter, and a 25-yarder from Darius Jackson in the fourth. The rest of the points came from kicker Kaimi Fairbairn, who booted 4 field goals. Rookie quarterback Davis Mills saw a lot of action, completing 11 of 22 passes for 112 yards, no touchdowns, and 1 interception. Presumed starter Tyrod Taylor, who went 4 for 4 for 40 yards, thought the Rook did a pretty good job.
I think he went out there and competed. He went out there, he made some plays in the passing game, got guys in the right spots, and the running game as well, too. Something to build from. It's always ways to improve, and we'll find those ways to correct and improve as a group. He will individually, I will individually, and as well as Jeff, once we watch the tape and put it behind us and move forward to the next one.
Texans first-year wide receiver Anthony Miller was carted off the field after suffering a slight dislocation of his shoulder and will undergo an MRI. He dealt with shoulder injuries while he was with the Bears. Friday night during the Cowboys' 19-16 preseason loss at the Arizona Cardinals, rookie linebacker Jabril Cox really stood out. The 4th-round draft pick didn't have a lot of standout moments at camp in Oxnard, but that all changes when the game begins. Cox led the Cowboys in tackles with 7, including 6 solo and 2 tackles for loss.
Yeah, I think this being the second game, I knew how it felt playing the first game in Pittsburgh. So I just wanted to play fast. So that's something that I wanted to go into the game and doing, and then just reading and reacting.
The second MRI in Dak Prescott's right shoulder showed his strain is healing well enough to practice at the Ford Center at the Star Monday night for the first time this summer. Dak would like to play Saturday, August 21st, when the Cowboys host the Texans in preseason football at AT&T Stadium. Minnesota Vikings rookie quarterback Kellen Mond made his pro debut last night in a 33-6 loss to the Broncos. Mond completed 8 of 16 passes for 53 yards, and he had 5 carries for 25 yards, including a long of 10. Mond, a 3rd-round draft pick out of Texas A&M, recently missed 10 days due to COVID-19 protocols. He returned to practice this week, and he was asked if he was rusty.
I didn't feel rusty at all. I hit a couple of throws, missed some. I think that my pace could be picked up a little bit faster. I had a couple of key runs. But, I think just a big thing with me, post game and, not seeing the game yet is, just my pace, my feet, just getting the ball out of my hands quicker. And, I think just after being able to evaluate after the first game, I think I'll just continue to get better at that.
Mond nearly had a TD pass in the 3rd quarter, but fellow area player and rookie Caden Stearns knocked the ball out of the receiver's hands before he got both feet down in the end zone. Stearns tied for a Broncos team high with 6 tackles. And the Spurs are playing the Nets in Las Vegas Summer League right now, and the Spurs are up 53-48. We'll have more of those highlights for you tonight on Instant Replay.
Thank you, Larry. We'll be back with some breaking news on Bexar County's mask mandate right after this. Finally tonight, that breaking news, the Texas Supreme Court ruling in favor of Governor Greg Abbott's temporary ban on mask mandates in Bexar County and Dallas County. This means the mask mandate issued for public schools by Bexar County leaders last week is no longer in effect. We have all the details right now on KSAT.com. We'll have more on the Night Beat. We'll see you there.